from getting the virus or getting the vaccine. We verify whether there's a difference between the two.
But first 5 on your side, still in storm alert tonight as we're tracking showers and thunderstorms, some of which have been severe, out of the area this evening. What that means for your weekend forecast.
Right now, thousands are without power after storms swept through the St. Louis area tonight. This is a time lapse here from our tower camera in Chesterfield. All of this happened in about a half hour. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Casey Nolan. Mike and Ann have the night off. Justina Coronel is in Kirkwood with a look at the damage there. But first, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with the latest. Scott?
And we want to establish from the very beginning here that the severe weather threat is now over for the St. Louis area and for all of the 5 on your side viewing area. But we still have some rain out there right now. The stronger thunderstorms have pushed south and southeast of St. Louis. The only warning we have is a flash flood warning, and that's for portions of eastern and northeastern Madison County over into west central and northwestern Bond County in Illinois. From about Edwardsville over to just west of Greenville, Alhambra, and Hamel are a part of that. Now, it has been a rough evening across the bi-state region. Those thunderstorms producing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and that's created a lot of damage. Justina Coronel has the latest from Kirkwood.
Yeah, Scott, so viewers have been sending us photos of stormage from Warrenton to Lincoln County to all the way here in Kirkwood. Now, I'm going to move out of the way so you can see some of the action that's taken place behind us here. Now, right now, you can see an officer. Now, he's directing traffic on North Kirkwood Road. That's because he's detouring people around the downed power line. Now, in Lincoln County, dozens of calls came in for trees and power lines down. Now, these photos here are from the Troy area, and 30 minutes away from there in Warren County, several structures were also damaged. Some of the most severe damage at Daniel Boone Elementary. Part of the rooftop blew off. Now, the chief tells us the storm was so strong and there were several employees actually working inside, but luckily nobody was hurt. Now, I spoke to an Ameren spokesperson not too long ago, and I was told this is a big outage for the area. These are the latest numbers from about an hour ago. Now, right now, Ameren, Missouri says 92,000 people don't have service, and Ameren, Illinois has 13,000 customers without service as well. Now, this was a big storm spreading from mid-Missouri to the St. Louis area, but let's toss it back to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell. You have much more information on this. You've been tracking these storms all day. Scott, what can you tell us?
Well, the important thing to note here is the severe weather threat's over, but you know, when we had those heat index values this afternoon topping out 105 to 110 degrees, that was just fuel for these thunderstorms to work with, and they worked with it indeed. You can see the line of storms that brought us the severe weather. It's all the way down to Carbondale and Cape Girardeau right now, but even there, the threat of severe weather has diminished considerably. There's still a tremendous amount of rain behind the front, but when we say a tremendous amount of rain, we just mean it's lasting for about 2 or 3 hours. So we still have a ways to go before it lets up completely in St. Louis, but the end is near. What we're watching out in Kansas City, the development of more severe thunderstorms, these should take a right turn and head more towards Lake of the Ozarks versus heading our way. Here's the area's storm reports from earlier today and through this evening. All wind damage and wind-related reports. One of the highest wind speeds we saw out of Cahokia Parks Airport, 67 miles per hour. It's also dropped our temperatures back to around 70 degrees. So the heat is broken. Here's the time lapse of those storms rolling in from 100 above the park, looking back over Forest Park towards the Science Center. And here comes that wall of water across Forest Park, spreading the heavy rain and the strong winds our way. With so many power outages across the region, remember to treat any down wire as live. This will be, as Justina mentioned, a long duration power outage for a lot of folks because it's a major event. It will be much cooler though this weekend. So at least if you're without power, your air conditioner, well, since you won't be able to use it if you don't have power, it'll feel better for you, so it won't be so doggone hot inside.
Yeah, I'm really glad it cooled off if people were without power. Some incredible video there too, Scott. Thank you. A reminder, you can get severe weather alerts sent right to your phone. Just download the 5 on Your Side app for free. An 18-year-old is now linked to 3 murders in St. Louis, including the deaths of a mother and her child. We've learned that suspect's name is Prishan McLean. He is facing charges in 2 separate deadly shootings. The first was on Dover Place in the Carondelet neighborhood. Police say Victoria Manisco was found shot to death on her front porch of her home late Tuesday. Officers didn't find her until Wednesday morning. Then Wednesday evening, police say a woman went to check on her 27-year-old daughter and 8-year-old granddaughter in the Fairgrounds neighborhood. They were both found tied up and shot to death. According to documents, the suspect lived in the same apartment as the mother and her child. It's not clear how he might have known the first victim. Right now, McLean is being held on unrelated charges in Granite City, Illinois. Tonight, the family of that mother and her young daughter spoke to our Robert Townsend. Robert is live outside police headquarters in downtown St. Louis.
Casey, Terry Bankhead's family right now is overwhelmed with unimaginable grief as they mourn her and her daughter. Now, news of a suspect in custody tonight is giving them some comfort.
Oh, I couldn't do nothing but cry. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
A big sigh of relief from a grief-stricken Terry Ward. It's after she heard police now have a suspect in custody in connection with the brutal murders of her two loved ones, her daughter, 27-year-old Terry Bankhead, and her only grandchild, 8-year-old Daniela Edwards.
Well, a little relief because they caught him. And we're truly thankful that they made an arrest in this case.
On Wednesday, Terry Ward made heartbreaking discoveries and found her daughter and granddaughter both tied up with rope and both shot multiple times inside Bankhead's home in North St. Louis. Ward tells 5 on Your Side her loved ones were lying in her daughter's upstairs front bedroom. She also says her daughter suffered a gunshot wound to her lower jaw. 8-year-old Daniela would have turned 9 next month.
Our children should be able to grow up in the community without, being victimized by anyone.
Sources tell 5 on Your Side the suspect apparently lived in an adjoining apartment in front of the rear unit where Bankhead and her daughter lived for less than 6 months. When we stopped by the suspect's residence, a woman would not confirm if the man actually stayed there, and she asked us to leave. Bankhead's mom has many questions.
We don't know. We haven't got any information on there yet, or what. How did she know him, or who he was, or anything? So I don't know. I will get justice.
Now the family plans to hold a prayer vigil and a balloon release tomorrow near that scene. We're live downtown. I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
Robert, thank you. That makes 3 murders in less than 24 hours, 10 miles apart. All 3 victims female. We spoke with the executive director of St. Martha's Hall, whose life work is to protect women and children. When she heard the news of another woman and girl killed, she says she just got angry.
When you hear about 3 different murders in 1 week, in one city, and I know this, the circumstances of each are different, but the common thread in each of those is they were women, all of them, even the young girl.
St. Martha's Hall strives to help women and girls. Their hotline is available 24/7 and is on your screen now, 314-533-1313. New data from the U.S. Census is in, and it reveals a trend toward diversity over the past decade. Let's break down the numbers. We're looking at the diversity index. The bigger the number, the more diverse the population. In blue is what it was in 2010, and green represents 2020. The diversity index for the entire country rose by 6.2%. In Missouri, it went up by 7.9%. Illinois went up 5.6%. St. Louis City, it's up 4.7%. And in St. Louis County, the numbers went up by 7.8%. One thing to note about Illinois, the entire state's population went down, costing the state a seat in Congress. There will now be 17 representatives from Illinois instead of 18. Missouri keeps its 8 congressional seats. Well, 10,000 Missourians have now died from COVID-19 since the pandemic began back in 2020. New cases, deaths, hospitalizations have all been rising in Missouri since June as the Delta variant has taken hold. Nationwide, more than 615,000 Americans have died from COVID. Some blood banks across the country are offering free COVID antibody tests to donors, but with so many already vaccinated, are the tests of any use? Our Brandon Lewis verifies.
A COVID antibody test can be a useful tool for doctors, but with more people getting vaccinated, Nate Silver, the founder of 538, asked in a tweet with almost 1,500 likes, is it possible to tell the difference between vaccine and COVID antibodies? So Nate, let's verify. Our sources are pathologist Dr. Omid Bakhtar, the Food and Drug Administration, and Dr. Amish Adalja at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. Both doctors explained the COVID-19 antibody test was created in the early days of the pandemic as a way for doctors to diagnose if someone previously had coronavirus. It looked for antibodies to the nucleocapsid protein, which only appears in those who recovered. Later on, as the vaccines were created, researchers wanted a way to determine if they were taking hold within a person's immune system. Since the vaccines don't use the real virus, they can't use the nucleocapsid test. Instead, the vaccines contain a spike protein, so a separate antibody test was created to check for that. However, the FDA says neither of these tests should be used to evaluate a person's level of immunity or protection from COVID-19 until more research is done.
For the general public, from a diagnostic perspective, antibody tests are not particularly helpful. Unfortunately, again, we just don't have the data to show that a number would be equal to protection in all scenarios.
So it's true. It is possible to tell the difference between vaccine antibodies and COVID antibodies, even if it's still unclear how many antibodies a person needs to fight off an infection. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Thank you, Brandon. Have something you'd like us to verify? Reach out on Facebook, Twitter, or email verify@kstk.com. Nearly 2 decades later, charges in a Jefferson County cold case. The clues that investigators say led them to an arrest.
Letters like this are going to scare the daylights out of people.
Plus, some say it's an unemployment assistance nightmare that won't end. Our I-Team uncovers how a program meant to help is denying more than 60% of applicants.
That looks like the worst of the weather is over for St. Louis, but still some unsettled weather heading towards the weekend. But will it be out of here in time for us to enjoy the weekend? We're back with more.
This 5 on Your Side newscast is sponsored by Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things.
Sunday nights, Sports Plus is too big to miss. Big names, exclusive interviews.
I left it all on the track.
And captivating stories from across St. Louis.
You're the biggest find in my life.
Join us for Sports Plus, Sunday nights at 10:30 on 5 on Your Side.
A woman is charged in a cold case out of Jefferson County dating back nearly 2 decades. Alice Weiss is charged with killing her live-in boyfriend, James Summers, back in 2004. Deputies found his body in the driveway of their home. Investigators say there were inconsistencies in her story. Missouri's newly formed statewide cold case unit helped investigate this case. This is the second investigation that's led to charges. The first was an arrest last December for a cold case out of Franklin County. A man named Kenneth Avery was charged for raping and killing Kristen Edwards near her home in 1986. Well, a lifeline extended to millions of struggling Americans during the pandemic turned into a nightmare for one Illinois family. Millions of people have received pandemic unemployment assistance. Now, some of those people are being asked to pay that money back. The I-Team's PJ Rendawa finds a new waiver program meant to help is denying more than 60% of applications.
Go! With 6 kids in tiny Ramsey, Illinois.
I mean, around here, there's not a lot to do.
Ashley Guthrie felt like the pandemic would never end.
We just chose to work and come home. We followed the rules.
That meant Ashley had to cut back her hours at the McDonald's restaurant she worked at for 3 years.
It takes all of us, 4 adults, to manage 6 kids in a house. I bring home $200 working on the weekends.
Ashley was relieved to learn help was on the way. Last spring, the state of Illinois received $4.3 billion from the feds to give out to struggling residents like Ashley as part of the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. Since September, Ashley's received around $36,000.
I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot. And I was smart about it. I invested for my family.
A notice in the mail ended her plans. Suddenly, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, or IDES, was asking for all that money back, claiming it had overpaid Ashley.
$36,000, You see where I'm living. That's 8 years salary for me.
According to IDES, more than 170,000 Illinois residents were told they needed to pay back their benefits. That's nearly $1 billion worth of payments the state of Illinois wanted back. Close to 70,000 people have applied for a recently announced repayment waiver program. Ashley applied, but like 61% of applicants, she was denied.
Can somebody who makes $200 a week pay back realistically $36,000 in benefits?
No, nor should they have to. And letters like this are going to scare the daylights out of people.
Senator Jason Plummer's office has been taking hundreds of calls from across the state about IDES overpayments and waiver program denials.
There's people out there that are being asked to repay money that was legitimately owed to them that they should have gotten.
You read this letter. Is it clear to you why she owes this money to IDES?
Absolutely not. I think the guidance has been limited at best. IDS offices are not open. The phones ring, no one answers. And if you don't have access to internet, you really are out of luck right now.
I feel like it's their responsibility, not ours. Like, why'd you give it to us?
Senator Plummer is now looking into Ashley's situation and calling for an audit of IDES.
If we're able to fix Ashley's problem, that's great, right? But there's a lot of Ashleys out there.
Ashley just hopes she won't lose what little she has.
That's what's so devastating is I finally thought that, oh, we're getting somewhere. You know, they're helping us bump up in a class, you know, get somewhere. And now it's like, I'm right back where I was.
For the I-Team.
Okay, turn around, come back this way.
PJ Randhawa, 5 on your side.
PJ, thank you. Well, for the second year in a row, Belleville's annual Labor Day parade and picnic are canceled because of COVID. Organizers say right now it's best to just avoid large celebrations and gatherings. If you've already paid for a ticket, you can get a refund or have it applied to next year's event. Well, y'all have been sending us some of your storm videos tonight. This one comes from Brian in St. Charles. You can see the wind really bending the trees there. And Cheryl sent us some of her video, strong winds in Warrenton. You can see it whipping around there. Of course, Scott, we talked about it. Justina mentioned the wind in Warrenton taking the roof off of a school building there. It was a pretty windy night, to say the least.
Yeah, we had 60, 65, even a few 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, or the estimation thereof, and that caused some problems. And that wind also created some cool clouds. If you missed it earlier, this is what it looked like from our Chesterfield sky cam. Watch that old shelf cloud come on in. Here it comes. Kind of an awesome cloud rolling at you. It looks really scary, and really what that is that's just the outflow from the thunderstorm and the warm, humid air being drawn up in and kind of kicking that thing out. And it created some heavy rain. The winds gusted 50 to as much as 65, 70 miles per hour with that. So there's still a lot of trees down. There's branches down. There's power lines down. Don't go out and wander around tonight, okay? So tonight's not the night to be driving around. Let the emergency crews deal with it. Let the power crews deal with it. Still some heavy rainfall over here in Madison County. It's letting up quite a bit now, but we do still have this flash flood warning. Madison County from Hamel over towards Alhambra and just west of Greenville. That flash flood warning in effect until 11:45. The water will drain, but that's another problem. If there's water over the roads, you can't really tell, and you don't know how deep it is, and it's not a good night to be driving around tonight in the metro area if you can avoid it because of all the branches and whatnot that's been knocked down. There are more thunderstorms developing out here around Kansas City. They're bubbling up. Some of them are strong to severe, but we do believe that they are going to stay more to our west. The front itself is still up to our north, and we have to wait until tomorrow before it finally gets through here. In the meantime, these are some of the storm reports we had in Florissant, North St. Louis County. Winds knocking down a big branch onto a home out in Darden Prairie in St. Charles County. Several trees down Highway K and Highway N, even down into Jefferson County. The outflow ahead of that thunderstorm, way ahead of the rain, actually kicked up winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour with a whole bunch of trees down there. Our temperatures have cooled off to around 70. The main area of rain slips away overnight tonight. Tomorrow, we'll still have a few scattered showers around, maybe a rumble of thunder. Nothing like what we saw today. We're in the 80s tomorrow, and as we head into Saturday, the drier air really filters in on Saturday. This is when the bonus weather starts for St. Louis. Saturday and Sunday, a couple of really pleasant days in St. Louis. Quite a change from what we just went through. 72 right now, 97 the high today. 70 was our low during the thunderstorm this evening. Temperatures tonight holding nearly steady, upper 60s, low 70s. Tomorrow it's still muggy and we'll have some showers around, especially first part of the day, but then we're drying out. It's much less humid Saturday. Sunday looks great, even into Monday. Middle of next week we'll start to warm up once again. Long night of cleanup ahead and a weekend of raking and cleaning and sawing, I suspect.
Yeah, and good reminder you said there, stay away from those down lines. Thank you, Scott. Sports is next.
Well, Casey, we have a great baseball show for you tonight. The St. Louis Browns, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the coolest opening ever to a Major League game. Stick around.
If you have a tip for the 5 on Your Side I-Team, call us at 314-444-5231 or email 5onyourside@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.
Beating the Pirates is kind of like beating your little brother in one-on-one. It counts, but it really doesn't impress anybody. Now, this is kind of impressive. Paul DeJong has 16 homers this season. What is not impressive is his .204 batting average. We are tied at 3 in the 4th inning. And Lars Nootbaar, a few moments later, hit his first ever Major League homer. It gave the Cardinals a 5-3 lead. A couple of things about this homer. First, Pittsburgh fans are not good defensive players. Adam Wainwright is a very good cheerleader, and this is how you celebrate your first. The Cardinals had to use 6 relievers, and the Pirates made it tight at the end, but the Cardinals sweep the Pirates 7-6. Lars was asked what he's going to do with that first home run ball.
This one I'll probably give to my mom. This is going to be the first off season where I'm not living at home, so I don't really have any much of a setup, so I'll probably just give it to her. I was saying earlier, I hope it doesn't end up in one of my dog's mouths, but so you know, anything from there is a plus. We'll see where it goes.
One of the coolest baseball environments ever for a Major League game, the Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa, with the White Sox and the Yankees. And of course, Kevin Costner was there to greet the players. This is so awesome. I wish I was there with my dad. 9th inning, 8-7 Yankees. Tim Anderson will walk it off with a 2-run blast. An incredible ending to an incredible game. White Sox win it 9-8. Wow. Hey, the rain may have postponed the annual St. Louis Browns night for the Gateway Grizzlies, but the spirit was on display in Sauget. Although the former American League team that went on to become the Baltimore Orioles hasn't played a game in our town since 1953, the love for the Browns still lives on in a big way.
You know, that heritage, that legacy carried from their parents who rooted for them and their grandparents, and they still want it today. You know, we're talking about tonight up in Dyersville, they're playing, you know, out in the cornfield. Well, we've got our own go back in time right here in Sauget, Illinois.
Next Saturday night, Worldwide Technology will basically have the same field for the Bommarito 500 that ran in the Indy 500. Over 40,000 fans are expected to be on hand. On the track will be Romain Grosjean. He's racing Indy cars now after being on the Formula One circuit. He says he reached a top speed of 237 miles an hour in his career. So I asked him, what is that sensation like?
It's more when you go into a corner, especially on ovals, that you realize that it's fast because, you know, you've got the outside wall not far from you. And you know that if the car goes, it's not going to be friendly. So that's where you really get the feel of speed. On the straight line, yes, things are going fast, but it's just not, it's not like it stands out.
That's like Scott Cano and his Lamborghini on Highway 40. Jordan Goodwin is playing for the Washington Wizards in the NBA Summer League. Great looking assist right there. And then later, this is one of the buckets of the day, a circus shot as he goes backdoor. We really hope the former Billiken makes it in the NBA. That's Good Sports. I'm Frank Cusimano.
Good stuff, Frank. Thank you very much. Well, how about a way to get a hold of your fast food even faster? Taco Bell is reimagining the drive-thru. And Welcome back, Allie. Allie Corey returns to Today in St. Louis this week. She has been busy lately with her newborn son, Jameson, and of course, his big brother, Kingston. You can join Allie, Rennie, Anthony, and Monica weekday mornings beginning at 4:30 a.m.
I'm Art Holliday, news director at 5 on Your Side. I've worked here 42 years. In that time, we've served you, our audience, with thoughtful storytelling. To sharpen that focus, we want to hear from you. newsdirector@ksdk.com. That's it. That's my email address. We want your feedback, the good, the bad, even better. Pitch us a story. We're at our best when we know how to serve you better. 5 on Your Side, focused on you.
Well, Taco Bell is apparently thinking outside the box with their new Defy concept store. The 2-story multi-lane drive-thru will be a reality soon. Plans are to open one in Minnesota next summer. 3 lanes will be dedicated to mobile or delivery order pickups. Mobile order customers can scan a QR code, pull forward, and then just pick up their food from a Lyft system. Society is crumbling. But let's go to Scott Connell for a check on the weather. That's something we can rely on.
Yeah, you know, we're finally seeing the rain, the back edge of it, sliding into the metro area now. We are done with any threat of severe weather. Still draining water, though, in runoff from 3 to 4 inches of rain over across parts of Madison County, near Highland, and heading over towards Alhambra and west of Greenville. So flash flood warning there. Severe weather threat has come to an end, though. The rain will diminish. Still some showers around, still muggy tomorrow. Much less humid and nicer over the weekend.
Sounds good, Scott. Thank you. That's all of our time. The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon is next. Have a good night.
The 5 on Your Side team is completely dedicated to telling the stories that impact you. If you have a story or need help in your community, contact us at newstips@ksdk.com.